Joe and Hayabusa. It's the ninja team-up we've all been waiting for. Or is it? Don't let SNK fool you. The heroes of Ninja Combat have nothing in common with Joe Musashi and Ryu Hayabusa. They're just a couple of generic warriors who are waging a war against the Shadow family. Turn back now if you don't want to know what happens next, because today we're going to be spoiling the story and ending of Ninja Combat on the Neo Geo. This is Game Over, the early years. So when I go about choosing games to cover for these episodes, I typically gravitate towards either games I like or memorable in some way or another. But that's not the case with Ninja Combat, the first generation Neo Geo game that's been completely forgotten about 27 years later. And for good reason, because Ninja Combat is a terrible game. Critics were largely unimpressed with the game when it first came out, and these days there's almost no reason to revisit this terrible brawler. Or is there? This is the story of Joe and Hayabusa, two ninjas that are in no way connected to the heroes of Shinobi and Ninja Gaiden. The year is 1990X, and these two fighters are locked in a life-or-death struggle against an evil ninja clan known as Kage Ichizoku. It all kicks off in an abandoned amusement park, obviously. It's here where they team up with a mysterious ninja with a familiar name, and we get our first taste of the incredible voice acting.
Who are you? You're the man who... My name is Musashi. I escaped from Genyo-Sai's spell and came to after the last fight. Let me go with you.
Okay, guys, I hate to derail this so early, but we need to talk. We're not even 5 minutes into this game, and so far every character is named after a more famous ninja. It's one thing to name your hero Joe, like the lead in Shinobi, but you can't follow that up with a guy named Musashi. It's not just blatantly obvious what's going on here, but it's also incredibly lazy. How long until Ryu shows up? Anyway, I could spend all day complaining that the people that made this had only played 2 ninja games before coming up with Ninja Combat, but the streets aren't going to clean up themselves. New team member Musashi is tasked with walking from left to right and hacking and slashing kidnapped girls that transform into evil female assassins. This leads to an all-too-brief fight with a feathered bird woman boss thing.
Who are you? You're the woman who...
My name is Kagero! I apologize for the way I acted before. I was testing your power! Please, let me go with you!
Now that Kagero is tagging along, we're able to infiltrate the underground subway station. Why? I don't know, I guess they saw it in Final Fight or something and figured that people expected in a brawler. This leads to a fight on top of a train, just like Ninja Gaiden 2, which is followed by what is probably the most impressive cinema in this entire game. It's an all-out fight against what appears to be a robot ninja gorilla. Let's see who joins the party this time.
Who are you? You're the man who... I'm Denbu. They deceived me. I want to go with you to hell. Denbu joined the group.
So now that the Ninja Avengers have assembled, it's time to track down the Shadow family and defeat whatever evil creature they're trying to summon. This starts out with a fight through a factory, which is followed by the inevitable part where we fight in an elevator. You'll also go up against deformed enemies in a secret lair carved out of a mountain range. This too has an elevator section, because of course it does. You'll eventually make your way to the hidden fortress, which has you once again going up against the past bosses. At this point, the game has trained us to expect every beat-em-up cliche in the book, so at least in that sense it doesn't disappoint. The ninja combatants make their way to the final showdown using, you guessed it, an elevator. Thankfully, Joe, Hayabusa, and the rest of the group get there just in time to beat up this evil bearded fellow, who then takes the shape of what used to be a headless statue. Oh, and there's an alien. Here's what happens next.
We did it, Hayabusa. Yeah, I think it'll be quiet now. How is everybody? Goodbye, Joe. Adios, Hayabusa.
See you around sometime.
The battle is over.
I think what bothers me about this ending is that nobody answers Hayabusa's question. He asks how everybody's doing, and instead of answering, they just decide to leave. I mean, I appreciate that they at least said goodbye, but what's the rush? You guys took down New York City's nastiest crime boss and the demon he summoned. So if you ask me, this seems like a really good time to celebrate. Or if you don't want to celebrate, then I don't know, maybe answer the question. I'm serious. A simple, I'm doing pretty good, thanks for asking, would have gone a long way. But look, even if you can get past the rudeness, this ending highlights the fact that the developers didn't care. They slapped together a bunch of ideas, lifted a few names, and didn't even bother to wrap the game up properly. Oh well, at least the voice acting is awesomely bad. Hey, thanks for watching this episode of Game Over, The Early Years. So here's the question I have for you. What's the worst ninja game you've ever played? It doesn't have to be a ninja game, since there are a lot of terrible games that just have ninjas in them. Let me hear your thoughts in the comments below. In other news, I have a bunch of reviews ready to go this week, including MX vs. ATV All Out, Adventures of Bertram Fiddle, Neon Wall, and more. We've been a little light on reviews recently, but that's all gonna change this week. I recommend you click that subscribe button and support what we're doing here. Until then.